from Peru, I believe, and he was working some undercover, and we sat down, we had a beer, and he talked to me for about 30 minutes about what he did, and it was like the skies opened up, and I found my direction right then. I wanted to be an undercover agent.
What was it specifically? I mean, besides him just looking like a cool motherfucker, was there anything that he said? Was there anything that made you think, shit, I could do this well?
So it was the concept. It was the concept he talked about of the game. So it's kind of your skill against their skill, right? If you're better than them, they're going to prison, right? If they're better than you, they're going to sniff you out, right? Things might end bad for you, or you're just going to have to walk. But it was that concept of the challenge and of the game, right? To see, you know, who's got better skill. And in the end, if you win, right, you've done something good, right? You've taken a violent, bad person off the street, someone who's putting, you know, guns out on the street, or, you know, large quantities of dangerous drugs or whatever it is. So I loved that it was kind of almost a sport, right?
Yeah.
Especially
at a time you're working at a bank and you maybe don't have those stakes, and you're just that fucking, you know, college football player, everything's kind of on the line, living fully.
Yep.
And then you're in this where it's just kind of getting stale. You knew that wasn't for you.
Dude, I mean, thinking about like doing that for the rest of my life was miserable.
Yeah.
So when I heard about this, you know, and I could just see it in his eyes when he was talking to me, like the passion, you know, and I found that, and I said, man, this is what I want to do. I didn't want to be a uniformed cop. Law enforcement was never even on my radar, but the thought of being an undercover agent, it just appealed to me, and that was it. And as you know, you don't just become an undercover agent, right? You pay your dues, you know. And from that point, by the time I was able to get hired and work through, it was probably 8 years before I started actually working undercover. But once I did, that was it.
I have a guy who's really, really close to me. He's a career undercover guy down in Shreveport, Louisiana, a guy named Carl Townley, who's just we've gotten enormously close over the past 12 years. And one thing he always talks about is sort of like this fine line. He always says, like, look, man, if I didn't become a cop, I would have been a criminal. He was like, and one thing that he always talks about is that, like, you know, it's, you know, one word for it is maybe empathy. One word for it is maybe respect. But that, you know, you see people just because they're on the other side of the field, you see people and you see the situation that they came up in, and you actually start feeling for them and you start caring about them.